team of Sankalp for hosting this leadership e-conclave Melange 21. I'm very happy to have this opportunity to interact with this vibrant, dynamic group, which represents the future of India, our country. And it is a great joy to see you, at least virtually. I look forward to also coming to your college sometime and meeting you in person. I'm also very happy to learn that many of you are exploring opportunities for serving in the Indian civil services. I wish all of you who are interested in joining civil services my very best wishes. And it will be a great privilege for us to welcome you as our young colleagues in Indian civil services. Particularly, it will be a privilege and joy for me to welcome you in the Indian Foreign Service. For me, friends, I joined Indian Foreign Service in 1989 and I have served more than 31 years. And it has been a great privilege, a great honor for me to be part of Indian civil services and have the opportunity to contribute in the national development and promotion of well-being of the people directly, have a role in the formulation of the government policies and their implementation. And among civil services, friends, Indian Foreign Service is uniquely special and privileged. I may be a little biased, but this is a fact I see. That a foreign service is unique in terms of the unmatched opportunities of richness and diversity and experience that it provides. But also the fact that it is the only service in entire government of India which provides the honor of representing whole of India, whole of the country, even to the youngest officer who is serving abroad in missions abroad, in our embassies and consulates abroad. This is a singular honor, like even as a third secretary, when you are abroad in the mission, then you are representing India, whole of India, all provinces, all dimensions of the country. But I must also caution that no service, no man-made system is perfect or without challenges and continuous struggle. I remember our first days in Lal Bahadur Shastri Academy of Administration. Our director of the academy, very distinguished civil servant, B.N. Yugandarji, he told us that you all might be feeling at the top of the world just by crossing the civil services exam. But I can tell you, he told us that even while you might feel that you are at the top of the world, please remember that you are not at the top of the world, but you are still trying to touch the bottom of the ladder of the civil services. And even when you go up the ladder, you are always somewhere in the middle. Even if you are foreign secretary, even if you are a cabinet secretary, you are somewhere in the middle. In a democratic republican system of governance, bureaucracy is always subservient to the elected political leadership, which in turn is accountable to the people. So civil services, friends, is not the most advisable job for those who seek power, those who seek luxury, those who seek comfort or privilege for oneself. It is essential to have the sense of equanimity and balanced perspective towards what is perceived as a high position or a position of power or a status symbol. In the long run for human beings, it is very important to be a good person, a positive person, and an upright person, man of character. Also, I must caution friends that qualifying for Indian Civil Services exam is not the ultimate moksha, nor people who are unable to get through, for them it should be the end of their life or their future. It is hugely a matter of chance, luck, and many things beyond one's control that one gets into a civil services. For us, like when we joined, we had only 10 vacancies for Indian Foreign Service. And I know that there are a lot of competent people who could not get the fortune of joining this. So it's not my personal achievement. I was very lucky to have this opportunity. And people who could not are by no means inferior to me. And therefore, friends, my advice as an elder brother is that while you do your best to prepare and gain knowledge of the entire syllabus, please don't lose heart or get demotivated if the result is somehow not favorable. It is also useful not to be obsessed with the process. If the objective is to serve your country, serve your people, and create something which gives glory to your country, your motherland, then there are many ways to achieve it. There are many paths leading to the same objective. In Sanskrit, there is a couplet: "Ruchi nam vaichitryat Rijukutil nana pathjusham nrina meko gamyastomasi payasam aranavaiva." Because of the difference of aptitude and difference of proclivities, interests, people followed straight and curved different kinds of paths. But all of them have opportunity, and ultimate goal of everyone is the same. Therefore, it is important for younger generation, young friends like you at this stage in life to be positive, have faith in yourself and your unique identity, unique talent and aptitude and natural skills. The Almighty has created everyone with utmost care and love and blessed with unique natural assets. Nothing, no one is useless or worthless. Amantram aksharam nasti, nasti moolam anaushadham, ayogyah purushah nasti, yojakah tatra durlabha. There is no letter, there is no mantra which is, there is no letter which does not have the potency of a mantra. There is no root which does not have a medicinal property. There is no human being which is worthless, ayogya. The only issue is that to find someone, a guru, a guide who puts these things to a proper use. It is indeed, friends, it is a responsibility of the society to do this matchmaking and create the enabling environment for every individual to realize one's full creative and entrepreneurial potential based on individual's natural aptitude. Therefore, for you, friends, my advice is that identify and focus on your personal strengths. What are your assets, your natural proclivities? If you are able to align your inner aptitude with your vocation, which you are going to pursue for lifelong, you will shine like a bright star. Also, it is very important, friends, not to compare or blindly follow anyone else. Because everyone is different. Everyone has been gifted with different, uniquely special talents. And also, life trajectory is not a reversible and retraceable trajectory. Tendulkar, for example, would not have been a huge success in boxing, nor Mary Kom in chess. They identified their natural areas of strength and built their career on them. Also, the children of Gavaskar or Tendulkar or Amitabh Bachchan or Rajesh Khanna or Rajendra Kumar have not been able to copy and retrace the footsteps of their parents. Everyone has a distinct path. Everyone has to tread alone. Friends, also because this conclave is about leadership, I wish to share something about leadership as well. As you can imagine that we are part of a big society. We are a big country, And in a situation like this, it's not humanly possible for anyone to do whatever is needed by oneself. Everyone needs to learn to work together in a team and divide responsibilities and coordinate and collaborate with others. And also, as I mentioned, that not everyone is identical in skills and talents and aptitude. Therefore, not everyone in the team will have the same skill. Not everyone will be able to make the identical contribution, but everyone with some leadership guidance can make equally valuable contribution. If the role is assigned thoughtfully, taking into account the best features of their aptitude, their character. Also, a leader is one who thinks ahead, thinks forward. यत यत आचरति श्रेष्ठः तत् तत् एव इतरो जनः. जैसा एक श्रेष्ठ आदमी आचरण करता है, वैसे ही बाकी लोग भी उसी तरह का आचरण करते हैं. स यत् प्रमाणम कुरुते लोकः तदनुवर्तते. Whatever standards a great man, a great leader sets, that is followed by the rest. Therefore, leader has to come forward, think ahead, and plan ahead of others. Identify new paths, clear new paths for others to follow. And foresight and farsight is probably the most important defining characteristic of a good, great leader. It's all about ideas, starting in the mind. And I can quote a quotation from Sri Aurobindo, who is a very inspiring figure for me. He wrote before India got independence, the main cause of India's weakness is not subjection, nor poverty, nor a lack of spirituality or dharma, but a diminution of the thought power. The spread of ignorance in the motherland of knowledge, and inability or unwillingness to think, incapacity of thought, or thought phobia. This is a very powerful message that eventually we are ahead or we are behind depending on what we think and how we think, how we conceive new ideas, creative ideas. And there is no restriction or bar on thinking. Therefore, let us all think creatively and innovatively. Wherever we see a problem, instead of complaining or feeling dejected or depressed or despondent, let us think about a practical solution. And young people like you who do not have your mind obsessed like people like us, you are best in the position to think out of the box, not being conditioned by the past experience. You think fresh. Also, the leadership of any individual is tested in trying times. And in this context, I wish to flag to you the leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Modi ji. Particularly, this is a recent phenomenon, is still continuing, how he has handled the corona pandemic. I think for young leaders like you, this is a very, very appropriate case study. Just think of it. Last year, corona emerged, and it was a completely unknown phenomenon. Nobody had any idea how the situation is going to evolve. It was a truly unprecedented challenge, global, and also all continents, all countries, all regions, even within the countries, all areas, whether rich or poor or powerful or weak, everyone was affected. And it was not just a health crisis, but it was challenge in every walk of life. The normalcy in every sense of the word was disrupted. And no one had a clear picture how it is going to unfold. And that is where Prime Minister Modi took a decisive step. He anticipated what can happen and how things might turn out of control. And therefore, he led the country. In a democratic country like India, unlike autocratic states like China, Prime Minister Modi's charismatic leadership was critical in mobilizing the entire country, 1.3 billion people, into a collective, voluntary, self-disciplined change of life and lifestyle. If you think of it, that kind of voluntary mass mobilization we have not seen in modern Indian history. I think in modern global history, we have not seen this kind of mass mobilization purely on voluntary basis, just based on the leadership qualities of one great leader. And also, he took a comprehensive approach to convert this crisis time into an opportunity, and not just revamped the domestic healthcare infrastructure and not only enabled to cope with the domestic challenge of corona incidents, but also he made India capable enough to take care of pressing needs of other countries. India was, because Indian facilities had been revamped and we had developed manufacturing capacity in a very short period of time for necessary medicines, PPEs, testing kits, ventilators. Because of that decisive action and planning in advance that Prime Minister Modi led us into during the lockdown period, so India was able to supply necessary medicines and testing kits and ventilators and protection gears to about 150 countries in the world. And that has transformed the perception of India. Even currently, we are engaged in vaccine maitri while we are implementing world's largest vaccination drive to vaccinate 300 million Indians on the forefront of fighting corona. We are also supplying vaccines to a very large number of countries. And again, it's a game changer in international diplomacy, how a developing country like India is coming forward and helping others while most others are busy addressing their own domestic requirements. So this is a great example for all of us, and particularly the young leaders that Sankalp Group has brought together. And also in terms of the leadership of India in consulting and coordinating with global leaders, Prime Minister Modi has been the pioneer, and also our Foreign Minister, Dr. Jaishankar. He has been kind of in the front line in coordinating with global leaders and working for a coordinated, holistic approach in tackling this crisis, global health crisis. Friends, and also the government of Prime Minister Modi has used this crisis time to introduce some very profound, far-reaching reforms in economic and industries, and also a new economic policy has been launched, and also to revitalize the small and micro entrepreneurship, the entrepreneurship, startups, innovative industries, and also local manufacturing. A very ambitious Atmanirbhar Bharat mission has been launched. So therefore, you can see how a great leader is able to convert challenges into unprecedented new opportunities. This has lessons for us in life and also in our vocation that we take up. Friends, it is not enough for only a few persons or Honorable Prime Minister Modi or his government just to hold the vision of Atmanirbhar Bharat. It is a collective national dream, a collective mission to make India self-reliant. And all of us, including young students like you, have a role. Those of us who are in a position to produce goods for others to consume, we can take this opportunity to maximize local content. Those of us who only consume, we should prioritize local products. And also all of us can be part of promotion and branding of Indian products. We all can begin with some product we are very proud of from our native village or from our native city or a place where we belong to. I think we can begin by becoming a brand ambassador of our area. That will transform India. And also, ultimately, all change, big or small, begins in one's own mind. And many times, solution is more kind of out of the box idea rather than a matter of resources. In Buddhism, there is a very interesting story that someone came to Lord Buddha saying that, what do I do, Guruji? I walk on the earth and my feet get hurt because there are so many stones, so many thorns. How nice it would be if we had a very, very large sheet of leather and covered the whole earth, so that I could walk comfortably and do my prayers and necessary rituals without any suffering. Then Lord Buddha told the disciple, saying that it's in Sanskrit. Buddha used Pali, but this shloka is in Sanskrit. Bhumim chhadaitum sarvam kutascharma bhavishyati. Now, where will you find that amount of leather to cover the entire earth? Upana charma matrena channa bhavati medini. You just cover the sole of your feet with leather, like you wear a shoe, that has same effect as covering the whole earth with leather. If you think creatively, you can find fantastic solutions which are feasible, which are within your reach, and you just use your local resources. So that is a challenge I throw upon you to find innovative, creative solutions. You just look around your village, your town, your city, your society, and if you see any problem, think of a solution. If you were in a position to make decision, what would you do? And think out of the box. You will find great solutions for the country. Friends, I'm at the kind of last 5 years of Indian Foreign Service. So therefore, when I joined, we had a lot of issues for India as a country. We had financial issues, we had economic challenges, and also we were in the world was in Cold War. But there has been a sea change for India and its profile and how India is viewed by the international community. Today, India is one of the brightest spots in the global economy. It's a huge market. It's a very young population. And also our young population is going up the value ladder, the skill sets, and whole range of professional skills, whether there are science and technology or medicine or accounting and auditing, of all professional skills, project management skills. The Indian technical manpower has a great brand image globally. Also, by 2030 or so, it is estimated that Indian technical manpower will account for 1/4 of the entire world's skilled manpower pool. Just think of the opportunities that people like you have. 70%, India is still 30% urbanized. That means 70% of India is still to be urbanized. There are unprecedented opportunities for building infrastructure, building new systems which are waiting for you. Therefore, my call to all of you and all the people who are listening to this program is that please be creative, be job creators rather than job seekers. Be positive, be optimistic about yourself, your capability, your country's glory and future. अमरते वीर पुत्र हो, दृढ़ प्रतिज्ञ सोच लो, प्रशस्त पुण्य पंथ है, बढ़े चलो बढ़े चलो। बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद। आप सब लोगों को बहुत शुभकामनाएं और आशीर्वाद।